Here's a little video about tuning. To welcome us aboard, here is a concert A, and apparently this note vibrates at 440 vibrations a second, hence it's called 440, A440. There it is. So that's A, that's what we're tuning to, and we hopefully my A is going to sound the same. If not, we have to figure out, and we have to listen and hear whether it's different. That's our first step. So we have to decide whether that note is different to the one to the 440. So I'll play mine again. To my ears, that one is a bit different. So by comparison, I'll make it sound the same. So that's roughly the same. Whereas now, that one sounds different. So the most important thing is to be able to recognise whether it's different or the same. Most people are able to recognise whether something sounds different or the same. Often, instead of calling it different, you'll just say, oh, that hurts my ears, that's out of tune, that sounds terrible. But essentially, it's just a different pitch, a different vibration. So the next step that we want to take in order to make them sound more in tune or more acceptable, more pleasant, more the same, is to figure out whether the note we're playing is lower than the pitch we're trying to achieve or higher than the pitch we're trying to achieve. So I'll play it again and tell me and try to figure out yourself whether you think my note is lower than the pitch or higher. There you go. So what do you think? Was it higher or lower? So here's perhaps the best way to do it is to sing it. So here's perhaps the concert A, or roughly. A, and my note was down there somewhere. So when you sing it, perhaps you're more in tune or more able to pick whether you're falling or rising. A, and here's my note. And I would say that note is lower. There's A here. If I was a bit higher, I'd be up there. Hey, but I was down here, roughly. So once we can figure out whether it's high or lower, we can have a go at making it. It gives us more control, more comprehension to try to make it the same. So I'm going to try to, because I know I'm lower, I'm going to twist the little fine tuners clockwise, which will hopefully bring that note up to where we want to be. So I'll twist the fine tuner clockwise. So with the fine tuners, you'll never break a string with the fine tuners. You can twist them quite confidently. I avoid using the pegs when you're starting out. Just use the fine tuners. And how do you know when you are in tune? Well, in a way, you kind of don't. It's just you're just going to get it to a point where it sounds more acceptable than being a bit lower and more acceptable than being a bit higher. So it's very much a process of elimination is the way I think of it. You've got your note in the middle and that you want to get to, and you bring your note up to that point, and you may have noticed I went a bit too high and I brought it back down. And then I went a little bit too low and I brought it back up. A little bit too high, back to the center point until you sort of find the sweet spot or the center point. And it is a process of elimination of going a little bit, I'll swap fingers, a little bit too high, a little bit too low, a little bit too high, a little bit too low. And it's just like lowering the parameters until you end up with something that is as close as you can make it to mirroring that that sound that we know is correct, which is 440. So we'll give that a go again. This time I'll start from, we'll see if you can pick where I am now. There's A, concert A, and here's my A. So here's concert A. Here's my A. So I've gone from concert A. So I'm a little bit too sharp. So now we have to lower the string anti-clockwise for the fine tuner. A little bit too low. Somewhere around there. That's it. And that was pretty nice. So they're mirroring each other. And like I said, it's always you sort of find your where you think is your center point, the sweet spot of the note, the perfect tuning. And once you're there, you just go a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down, just exploring what you think sounds better or worse, And sometimes you don't know whether to go up or down. So if you just find it's getting worse and worse and worse, chuck it in reverse and go the other way. So it is very much a process of elimination. I think there are a few myths out there that people just know exactly where it is, or perfect pitch is, and things like that. With tuning, it's very much a process of elimination. You can hear, you know roughly where it is, and it's just a matter of, like I said, lowering those parameters until you're right as central as you can get it. And it's usually best to, guitarists will know this as well, to approach the note predominantly from below, just because of the nature of the strings. Because when you're coming at it from below, the strings stretching a bit, and it will hold truer, rather than from above. So there we go. So hopefully that's going to help you on your way. So you can refer to the other video with just me playing the long notes, and give that a go with your fine tuners. They match up to the string, and and once, like I said to you, you can be very confident you'll never break a string using the fine tuners. You can sometimes run into problems where you can't go any more clockwise, you can't make the note any sharper, and I'll make another video to address what to do when we get there. All right, hope that's been helpful, and it's also a little bit of ear training in a way. If you have no sense of sight, if you're blind, you'll still be able to play the violin beautifully, because it's all about using your ears and listening, and just being able to hear. The first step is being able to differentiate between a low note and a high note. So there we go. Hope that's been helpful. Thanks.